Hey everybody, it's Marianne Amen, Create Your Magnificent Life Now. I'm kind of coming out of a little bit of hibernation here because, and I want to talk about the topic of purpose. So if anybody, and I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay too. So I'm going to give it a few minutes before I actually start, and I would love to see you all. Yeah. Have some coffee. But I've been thinking a lot about purpose because I'm right now kind of in the middle of re-examining my own. You know, purpose isn't static. There's an underlying purpose that pretty much is foundational, but then it shifts, it unfolds, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, okay? So Facebook is saying, hang on, just hang on, give it some time. Such a crazy thing sometimes. Guys, pretty busy getting stuff done, holiday season. Ooh, hang on one second. There, it's better. Yes. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Debbie, can you tell me if you can hear me okay? I think that's a symbol that says yes. Okay, I'm going to go with that. Old Faithful. Good, terrific. Okay, so I want to talk about the issue of purpose today. And the reason is, as I was saying before, is that I've been doing a lot of re-examining of my own lately and just getting a little introspective. But the real reason is because I've had a number of people who I've been working with, and they're trying to find clarity about what they want to do in life. You know, what kind of business do they want to build? For who? What kind of work do they want to do? Should they even have a business? Should they get a job? A lot of questions that are going on for them. And the thing that I see all the time are, and I do the same thing, so no judgment here, but people oftentimes will be going to all kinds of programs and seminars and webinars. They're buying all kinds of stuff. They're chasing after the shiny object, and they don't really have a clue what it is they want to be doing. They don't know their purpose, is what it boils down to. Now, they may not know that that's part of their problem, that they don't know their purpose. Of course, once they get a hold of them, they know that they got to work on their purpose, all right? But knowing your purpose, why you're here on this earth, is foundational to so many decisions. And it's really the basis for other great work that you want to do. So you don't have to know the cosmic purpose, the one and only cosmic purpose. I think there are lots of different ways we express purpose, and purpose morphs. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about some perspectives here and maybe give you some stories about some clients that I have who have figured out their purpose, and it's a wonderful, blessed thing. So I made a few notes here, so just hang on one second. All right. One other reason why purpose is important too, if you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to work on your brand identity involves your purpose. It's not just the mission of the company that you have, but it's also the purpose of your being, like who you are and what do you stand for. What you stand for, what you value, what's important to you, what you'll die for almost, you know, what you're compelled to do because it means so much to me because of your convictions. That is your purpose. And that purpose, when it's part of your brand, it actually unfolds in the brand packaging is just something that's the pretty package on top of the brand identity. And your purpose is part of your brand identity. Now, I know some of you might be watching this and you're not you don't have a business. You might have a ministry, or maybe you have a job. But we all have a personal brand identity. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I want to actually talk about the purpose that informs that, okay? So there is a very simple basis, or let me say philosophy, that I have about purpose. It may not sound simple, it may not sound easy, but it really is. I believe all purpose is founded in love. Our whole purpose for being here in this world is to love and to be loved. It's that simple, to love and to be loved. And purpose, the way that we extend that individually, is some variation of how we are uniquely able to express that love through a particular work, through a cause, through things that we do. Purpose has to do with love. It has to do with how we love others. Since Debbie, you're on the line here, does that make sense to you? Purpose is about love and how you extend love to others. Even though it's a very broad statement there, but just wanting to know if I'm connecting here. Okay, so since purpose is about love, it's how we extend love into the world. How do we figure out what that is? Thank you, Debbie. How do we figure out what that is specifically and uniquely to us? All right? Because if it's just to love and be loved, well, that leaves that wide open. But I think it's important for you to know that that is the foundational piece underneath it. All right? All purpose is grounded in love. Otherwise, it doesn't really have any meaning, because the only thing that really has any meaning in this world is love. That's it. So we can get really, really simple about our lives. And whenever you get lost and you're feeling out to sea, come back to love. Come back to love. All right? So, hey, Kathy. So glad you're here. We're talking about how our purpose is grounded in love. That's the bottom line. So, when we are trying to figure out, though, what is my unique purpose, all right? Everybody's purpose on this earth is grounded in love. And I'm going to tell you one other thing why I think that. I have the belief that we were made by a creator. And that creator, in my mind, is God. And God is love. God made us in love. He made us to be loved. He made us for us to love. It's all about the love. His core being is love. So our purpose has to be somehow tied to love. All right? That's why I think that. And, you know, we can distill it all down to that whenever we get a little bit fried and stressed out, and go back to the love. All right? You can't go wrong when you go back to the love. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, how do we find our own purpose? What's that about? How do we express that into the world? Well, one of the best ways, and I think it's kind of like all you even need, but it doesn't need explanation. All you need is your story. Your story is where your purpose is. You're going to find your purpose in your story. So what do I mean by that? Well, what you've gone through in life. Thank you for the hearts. I love it. I love the hearts. More hearts, more hearts. So whatever your purpose is, whatever your story is in life, okay? We all have stories. We've gone through things. We've all gone through things, right? We've all overcome things. We have felt things. The things that we've gone through in life, our perspective, the events that we have witnessed, things that have happened to us, what they do is they form impressions in us. They form opinions, convictions. They even give us our perceptions and what's important to us. So one of the things that happened to me as a kid is that I was teased a lot, bullied a lot for being Asian. Some of you know this. I was abused as a kid. I was made to feel through circumstance, and I bought on to the fact, well, not the fact, I bought on to the lie, actually, that I'm defective, that something's wrong with me. So I constantly was trying to prove myself, make myself better, not make mistakes. I became a perfectionist, all right? It caused a lot of stress in my life, trying to prove myself, trying to be somebody. So one of the things I'm passionate about is helping people love and accept themselves right where they are. That's part of my purpose in life, is to help people to see themselves as God sees them, which is glorious and magnificent and basically flawless, and rather than always be looking at the defects and the imperfections. And I think people who know me, and even my clients, would say that's one of my hot buttons, and I'm on it all the time if I hear my clients saying that, talking and speaking negatively about themselves. All right? But no shame, no condemnation. I totally understand what that's like, but it informed part of my purpose in life. All right? Part of the choices I make and the work that I do. So our stories can have something, always have something to do with our purpose. The things that delighted you as a child have something to do with your purpose. All right? I loved going out to, taking my siblings, my younger siblings, out in the orchards, leading them in adventures, pretending that we were royalty and sea merchants, and we had a big pond, and we just had a lot of adventures back there. And I made up this whole big thing that we just participated in all the time. Well, one of the things I love to do, and I forgot about that, but later on, when I was really examining my purpose and how I want to do things, I realized that when I'm not feeling like I'm having fun and I'm not feeling like I'm having adventure in my life, I get dull. I feel like life isn't that exciting. So I have to always infuse some fun, maybe a little silliness, some adventure into the things I do and bring people along with me to do them, because that's part of my purpose. All right? So purpose has got to do not just with the bad things that have happened to you, that you've overcome, you conquered, and now you want to help other people. That's part of your contribution of love into the world. But it also has to do with the things that you're passionate about, the things that you found really fun to do as a kid that maybe you forgot about. So consider those things, okay? Let me see, what else was I going to say here? So ask yourself, question. What have I gone through that was challenging, super fun, and meaningful in your life? That is going to give you clues about your purpose. Now, some of you have got sensitivities when you see certain things happen in the world. You see people maybe being bullied. Some people aren't as bothered by that as somebody who has been bullied. I don't like to see bullying because I was bullied, right? And what that has done, even though I have overcome that, and I understand all what that came about, what that was about, and how it affected me, it's one of those things. And Debbie McCormick, she is on the line here, is somebody who has experienced bullying before, and in her business now, one of the things that she's observed are people who bully each other in the marketplace. They bully each other trying to make sales. And so because Debbie's sensitive about that, because of what she's gone through, it informs her purpose. It gives her part of the reason she does what she does as a LinkedIn expert, showing people how to serve through and sell through serving rather than manipulate, rather than beat you up, rather than make you feel guilty and oppress you. There's all kinds of ways that people do that in the sales environment, which is what gives sales a bad name. One of the things that Debbie wants to do is is restore dignity to the marketplace by caring about each other, by serving one another, and in serving, through serving, then you provide what people need, and then the sales event can happen through that. But it's really all about it's about the way that you give and the way you treat somebody. Debbie, you can let me know if I'm saying that correctly or not. But you see, her past of having experience in being bullied has now caused her to choose a work that she can rectify the wrongs, right the wrongs that have been committed in that particular arena. And I think that's a lot what purpose is about. It's about righting wrongs that maybe you've experienced, that you've overcome, and now you want to help others to either do the same or protect that space so that other people don't have to be subjected to that. All right? Another thing that gives us clues about our purpose are the activities. Thank you. Good. I'm glad. I don't want to misrepresent anybody here. It's the activities that you choose, all right? A lot of the activities and the choices that you make in life could be motivated for reasons outside of your purpose. They're not even related to your purpose, or so you think, all right? When I went to law school, I was going to law school in my mind because I wanted to have a career that was prestigious, that was powerful. Why? Because I felt powerless as a kid. All right, so I wanted something that was going to be prestigious, powerful, that I could prosper in. Well, law was not the field for me. Now, does that mean, though, that it's wasted? My mom would have said it was wasted. However, it wasn't wasted. Indeed, what I learned in law school, the biggest lesson I learned in law school was how to identify issues, how to take issues apart, how to deconstruct them, how to make sense of them so that something can be done with them. All right? One of the other things, though, is I discovered, whether it was when I was a teacher or a lawyer or a financial advisor or a minister in the church, was I was all about helping people achieve their dreams and their goals. Okay, so that was another thing, helping people achieve their dreams and their goals. Now, I didn't know that was part of my purpose. But as it turns out, it's a really strong theme that goes through everything. So whether I was teaching in a public school, or I'm working as a prosecutor in the government, or I'm working in corporate, all of those things seem fragmented and they don't have anything to do with each other. But when you really looked at it all, I saw the theme of helping people achieve their dreams and goals, no matter what arena I was in. That's something I can do anywhere. Now, our work at the particular time can change. It can change from this, it can change from that. But if you pay attention and you look through the thread that's woven through everything, you'll see some common themes. All right? So, don't regret anything you've done, because, I could probably talk to you for about an hour about your story and find the common themes that have gone on throughout from the time you were a child all the way to now. They are relevant. Everything relates to each other. Nothing is wasted. So you never have to have any regrets about anything. Obviously, if you're breaking laws and so forth, all right, go ahead and regret those things. But really, sometimes we're so caught up and we're so torn down by the choices we've made in life. I should have done that. If I only had done that instead, why didn't I take advantage of that opportunity at that time? It's all part of your purpose now. You get to take all of that past and you get to make something of it right now, today, if you haven't done it in the past. If you still don't know what your purpose is, it can be figured out right here, right now, actually, by looking through all those things. Don't judge it. Don't judge any of your past. All right? Just honor it. Honor it. because it all means something for today. Your purpose can also be seen in the causes that you support. There's certain things that I have an aunt, and she really didn't have a career that she felt passionate about, and she couldn't wait to get out of that job. But she was passionate about animals. She was passionate for her cats, and I believe she loved her animals more than people, except for me, of course. I was her favorite. But anyway, she had a love and a passion for cats. And so she supported causes having to do with animals. Her heart would go out to animals. Animals were part of her purpose. The causes. If you support domestic violence, not support domestic violence, but support causes that help with domestic violence, there's usually something in your past. Maybe that, again, going back to that bullying issue or being abused, it's part of how you will take the wrongs that were committed unto you and make something good out of it in your life or in the life of somebody else. All right? I wanted to share one more thing about that before I give you a couple of stories here. Your purpose fits you. It feels congruent. It feels like everything's settled inside when you know that you're doing what you're here to do. And when I was raising my kids and homeschooling my kids, I had no doubt in my mind that I was supposed to be doing that at that time. I was passionate about homeschooling my kids. I was passionate about my kids. That season of time, helping people achieve their goals, that was my children. And homeschooling was the vehicle. And I was a chapter leader, helping other homeschooling moms achieve their goals. That was part of my purpose then. But the arena was at home or in the community homeschooling my kids. I'm not doing that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. That's done. That's for another time and another life. I'm now in the marketplace. That's where I love to be. So I'm using my purpose and fulfilling my purpose in the marketplace. So our purpose, it's not like the purpose necessarily changes, but where we express it changes and it unfolds. So sometimes we can seem like we're in an environment that's totally different than what we're used to. And it's confusing. Well, where's my purpose in this? You'll find it. You'll find it. Just keep going forward, one step in front of the other. Purpose unfolds. All right? The other thing is, there's a lot of people who already know what their purpose is. Let me just say. They do. You might know what your purpose is. But you might still be searching because you think you don't know what your purpose is. Purpose is something that you're born with. It's given to you by God. It's in there. But we oftentimes resist purpose for a number of reasons. And I just want to talk about maybe a few of those reasons why you may be resisting your purpose. Number one, it can just seem too big and scary. How is little old me going to accomplish that? I used to wonder about mission work, being a missionary. For a while I was thinking, I wanted to be a missionary. Well, I wasn't supposed to be a missionary, but being a missionary seemed so huge and so noble and so sacrificial that it seemed like that was my purpose. Okay? So really what I'm saying about that one is, sometimes just because something's so big and so noble, it seems like it's not your purpose. Sometimes it seems like because it's noble and big, it is your purpose. That has nothing to do with it. All right? How big purpose is doesn't have anything to do with if it really is your purpose or not your purpose. I don't think I said that right, but I hope you get the point. Another reason why you may resist your purpose is because you don't know how you're going to make money doing it. A lot of times people are tying purpose to money, and you can make money with your purpose. But just because you can't make money with that particular purpose doesn't mean it's not your purpose. Your purpose can, a variation of that purpose, or it can be expressed in such a way in the marketplace that you can make money with it. But the thought, how am I going to make money with that? You know, somebody, I used to I took a test called the Strengths Finders test. And in the Strengths Finders test, one of my major strengths, and in your strengths, by the way, your gifts, your talents, your skills, your strengths are tied to your purpose. All right. One of my strengths was, my top and number one strength was positivity. My number two strength was belief. I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's wonderful. What am I going to do with that? Go around smiling at everybody? Well, that could be part of my purpose. If I went around smiling at everybody, loving on people and just smiling on them, I would be fulfilling my purpose. All right? Nothing wrong with that. But because I didn't think I could do anything with it professionally, I didn't think it was a good purpose. I was wrong. And as it turns out, positivity is very much a part of, thank you, Debbie. Yes, there's a reason for everything. Part of positivity is very much a part of what I do today. Many of the people I work with are people who are, they're fulfilling their purpose. They're doing big things. They're stepping out there. And it can get scary, and sometimes negativity comes upon them, and so they need somebody like me to help them stay elevated, to stay positive, to believe in them. Well, lo and behold, those are my two top strengths, positivity and belief. And yes, I can make money on that, all right, or with it. So that's another thought. The other thing is, if I settle in on a particular purpose, I could be picking the wrong thing. I could be picking the wrong thing, and if I'm picking the wrong thing, then I'm going to regret it later on, and time's going to be wasted, and, you know, nothing's wasted. Nothing's wasted. So even if you pick something that you think later on was not your purpose, well, you just learned something absolutely wonderful, right? You just learned something wonderful, and you've eliminated something. But I bet you there's a clue in that too. There are clues in everything. Everything that we do, nothing is wasted. Thank you, Kathy. Love it. That's really weird. There are some things, it says that I wrote something, but I didn't write anything. I think smiling and loving is totally part of your purpose. I like that. Look how easy that is. That's another thing about purpose. If we stay in our purpose, it's easy. It's easy. Life is so much easier. So it's only when I judge myself going, that's not enough. I got to do more than that. That's not enough. Well, you know what? There's more extensions of that, of course. There's more fun to be had. But purpose, I believe, is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. Okay. Let me quickly share a couple of stories with you, okay? Because I think that in stories you can see purpose better than me just telling you principles. I have this one client who came to me because she was very confused about what she wanted to do with her life. She knew she wanted to write a book. She felt like there was something meaningful about her life, possibly something meaningful about her life that she needed to share. Well, she was so right, all right? But sometimes these things are so much in your own head, and your own stories you don't value, your own experiences you don't value, right? Sometimes you need somebody else to step out who's outside of you saying, oh my gosh, really? That happened to you? And then you did that, and then you did that? And who's able to pluck out and extract the treasures and the gems from those stories. So this client, she grew up in utter poverty. I mean, she was so poor. You will hear, I'm going to actually tell you who she is, because she's coming out with a new book, and it's going to be awesome. Her name is Nicole. And She was too poor. Her family was too poor for low-income housing. This is really weird. I'm wondering if my account is getting hacked or something, because I have my own name that's being, comments are being made under my name, and I'm not doing it. So I'll take care of that after. But anyway, going back to Nicole. Nicole was too poor for low-income housing, didn't qualify, if you can even believe that. So she grew up in this kind of poverty. Her story is, her upbringing is almost horrific. But on top of it, she was abused, and she was bullied, and she was falsely accused of all kinds of things. Oh, it's my friend Dee. Well, thank you for solving that mystery. So she was falsely accused of all kinds of things. In fact, in a church that she attended, she was falsely accused of something that she didn't do. And because the leadership didn't want her to tell anybody about it, they put her on mandatory silent treatment for a year. And she had to stand up in front of the church for a year, quiet, where everybody would look at her. How do you think that affected her life? How do you think it affected her relationship with God? She grew up thinking after that God was mad at her. Well, even though she grew up in these terrible circumstances, she was determined to make a better way for herself. And what she did was she got a full scholarship to an Ivy League school. Not only did she get a full scholarship to an Ivy League undergraduate school, but then also got 2 masters. But all of this, even as much as she came through, as much as she overcame, Nicole became a drug addict. And in becoming a drug addict, one time, and she overdosed several times, and one of those times she died. She died. She had an out-of-body experience. She saw them working on her from the heavenlies, but she came back. She came back, and she got a word from God saying, "You shall not die, but you shall live and declare the works of the Lord." So when she came back, she didn't automatically give up her addictions, and she didn't automatically stop. And I think she might have even overdosed once again after that. But here's the thing. Throughout it, and after we talked about her story, there was some word she kept saying, a phrase she kept saying over and over and over again, and all of a sudden we knew what her purpose was. And that phrase that she kept saying was, "I knew I was born for more. I knew I was born for more." And then she'd tell me another story, "I knew I was born for more." Well, her purpose is to help people who feel a sense of hopelessness, who feel depressed. Maybe they're on the edge. Maybe they're about ready to give up. Her purpose is to help them know that they are born for more. Isn't that beautiful? And she, in fact, has written a book called Born for More, and it's coming out in print very soon. So our stories from the past, what we've overcome, can help us and the lessons we learn, they're all part of our purpose. It's all part of what we're going to share with the world. One more story. Another one of my clients tried crossing the border 18 times, Mexican border, 18 times. So don't go into this whole illegal immigrant thing here. Let's come back. That's not what I'm talking about here. But he was an illegal immigrant crossing the border 18 times. Finally makes it. One of the things he did when he was waiting in Tijuana to make another attempt was gather young boys together. He was just a teenager, and he put them to work. He was kind of like he would get people, he'd go running through the parking lots, getting people to, it sounds so funny now, but getting people to give them money to carry their bags. And he got a whole team of kids that he would pay. He'd take the money, take a cut, and then they would get the job but he's the one that made the money first. Get the job, and then they would carry the luggage around for different people. All right, once he made it over into the United States, he had to make a living. And so how he did this was he collected cans. He went through the garbage dumps to collect cans. Well, he lived with relatives. There were some relatives he had in these big rooms where a lot of illegal immigrants were living all together. And this was pivotal. This was a pivotal point for him in what helped him with his purpose. You know, what he's doing today was partly because of that experience. And the experience is this. He saw people from his country who were hiding away. What were they doing? Depending on the government system. Rather than going out and finding work, they found ways to tap in to government assistance. Well, that made him so upset, so angry, because of, he thought that they're better than this. You're better than this. Let's become contributors. Let's not be takers. And what happened eventually was while he was collecting cans out of dumpsters, a restaurant owner who kept telling him to go away, chasing him away week after week after week, finally said to him, all right, you're sticking around. Do you want a job? Do you want a job? And of course, Miguel I want a job. He became a dishwasher. And from being a dishwasher, he moved up and now he is general manager of that restaurant. And not only is he general manager of that restaurant, but he employs all kinds of people. He trains them. He teaches them how to be contributors so they don't have to live on the system. He has got now multiple businesses. And what does he do with those multiple businesses? He trains people so they don't have to live on the system, so they can be achievers. So he gives them a window of opportunity, and then he supports them and trains them so they can fulfill this window of opportunity, and that has become part of his life work. There are so many times that things happen to us, and we will observe a wrong, and it means something to us right in the depths of our heart, and we know that that is related to our purpose. Those things are related to our purpose. So, I know right now that might not give you all the tips and tools you need. I've been told by many people that they try to do all these questionnaires and fill out these booklets and these forms that lead them to find their purpose. It's really hard to do when you're just filling out those forms. So talk to somebody. Talk to me. Talk to a friend. Let somebody sit down who's really interested in you, helping you find their purpose. Tell them various things that have happened to you, the things that you value, that you have convictions about. There's a movie that I recently saw, Hacksaw Ridge. If you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. Hacksaw Ridge. It's amazing. And it is a story about a young man. It's a true historical story. This young man grows up in a very violent home. And there's a couple of things that happen to him in that, having to do with violence in that home. And I won't tell you what that is because that doesn't come out till really later in the story. But he has a passion for his country as well. And it's during World War II. So what he decides to do is serve his country, okay? Passion for his country, and he wants to do it without the use of a gun. He won't touch a gun. And he goes into the service. He's told that that's perfectly fine, that he can serve without touching a gun. Well, he soon finds out that nobody's fine with that because they send him to a combat unit. So in the combat unit, he gets bullied, he gets mistreated, he gets maligned, he gets accused. All kinds of things happen to him. But he is so convinced, and he has this conviction about serving without using a gun. Why? Because he wants to serve and he doesn't want to promote violence. He wants to save lives. So because of the violence he suffered growing up, he wants to save lives. He doesn't want to hurt lives. So rather than not going into the war, rather than protesting the war, he decides to go into the battlefield. And it's amazing what he does because he loves. Remember I said, all purpose is based on love. He loves his country. He loves people. And he wants to save people, not hurt them. So his purpose comes through loud and clear in that story. I'm actually going to get off because my phone is the battery's about to dead and I forgot to charge it. So if anybody has any quick questions, tell me right now, and I will be happy to answer them. But if you need any help in finding your purpose, please contact me. I would love to help you. I think that finding your purpose is the most foundational thing that you can do. The most fun thing is just add a richness to your life and an anchor and a certainty of your direction. Okay? So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Goodbye.